Stephen and Lucy's relationship in Tell Me Lies doesn't just exist in a bubble between two people who can't quit each other. It spills outward and quietly poisons nearly every space it touches. That's one of the most unsettling things about the show, and one of the main reasons it resonates so strongly with viewers. This isn't a story about a messy romance that only hurts the people inside it. It's about how a toxic relationship reshapes friendships, rewrites social dynamics, and leaves emotional wreckage in its wake long after the couple themselves have moved on or circled back yet again. From the very beginning, it's clear that Stephen and Lucy's dynamic creates tension wherever they go. Their relationship isn't loud or dramatic in the traditional sense, but it's heavy. There's always an undercurrent of discomfort when they're around other people together. Friends feel it. Roommates sense it. Even casual acquaintances can tell something isn't right, even if they can't quite name what it is. That subtle unease becomes a defining feature of their social circle, and over time, it starts to change how everyone behaves around them. One of the most damaging effects of Stephen and Lucy's relationship is how it fractures friendships. Lucy's connections with the people closest to her begin to suffer as she becomes more emotionally entangled with Stephen. It's not that she suddenly stops caring about her friends, but her emotional energy gets redirected. Conversations become guarded. Trust erodes. She starts keeping secrets, not necessarily because she wants to, but because being honest would mean confronting truths she isn't ready to face. Friends who question Stephen's behavior are slowly pushed away, not through explosive fights, but through distance and quiet resentment. Stephen, meanwhile, has an uncanny ability to insert himself into social situations in a way that feels calculated. He's charming enough to win people over initially, but there's always a sense that he's observing, measuring, and storing information. That awareness gives him power. He knows which friendships matter most to Lucy, and he knows exactly how to destabilize them without ever taking direct responsibility. By framing concerns as misunderstandings or jealousy, he subtly isolates Lucy while maintaining a veneer of innocence. What makes this so realistic is how gradual it all is. No one wakes up one day and says, "This relationship is destroying our friend group." Instead, it happens in small moments, missed plans, awkward silences, friends choosing sides without fully realizing they're doing so. Over time, the social circle becomes fragmented, and people who were once close start drifting apart. Stephen and Lucy's relationship becomes the unspoken center of gravity, pulling everything off balance. The impact doesn't stop with Lucy's friends. Stephen's behavior affects everyone he interacts with, even those who think they're detached observers. His relationships with other women are shaped by the same patterns of control and emotional manipulation, and those experiences ripple outward as well. People are left confused, hurt, and questioning their own perceptions, often without fully understanding why. The show makes it painfully clear that toxic individuals don't just harm one person. They create a trail of emotional fallout that spreads far wider than anyone expects. What's especially compelling is how Tell Me Lies shows the bystander's dilemma. Friends and peers can see that something is wrong, but they're unsure how to intervene. Some try to warn Lucy, only to be met with defensiveness or denial. Others choose silence, either because they don't want to get involved or because they fear losing the relationship altogether. That hesitation feels painfully real. The show captures how hard it is to help someone who's trapped in a toxic relationship when they're not ready to admit it themselves. Stephen and Lucy's dynamic also reshapes the emotional tone of their environment. Parties, group trips, and casual hangouts carry an underlying tension because no one knows which version of the couple will show up. Will they be distant and icy? Overly affectionate in a way that feels performative? Quietly hostile? That unpredictability keeps everyone on edge. Social spaces that should feel safe and relaxed instead become emotionally charged, and people start adjusting their behavior to avoid conflict. Over time, this constant tension takes a toll. Friends grow tired of walking on eggshells. Some pull away for their own emotional survival, while others become entangled in the drama despite trying to stay neutral. The relationship becomes a kind of emotional black hole, absorbing attention and energy that could have been spent on healthier connections. That's one of the most honest aspects of the show. Toxic relationships don't just hurt people emotionally, they exhaust entire communities. The long-term impact is perhaps the most haunting part. Even when Stephen and Lucy are apart, the damage doesn't magically disappear. Trust has been broken. Friendships have changed. People carry emotional scars that influence how they approach future relationships. The show suggests that the aftermath of toxicity can linger for years, shaping how people see themselves and others long after the relationship itself has ended or evolved. What makes Tell Me Lies so powerful is its refusal to simplify any of this. It doesn't present easy villains or perfect victims. Instead, it shows how complex and messy real human relationships can be, especially when emotional manipulation is involved. Stephen and Lucy aren't just two people making bad choices in isolation. Their relationship becomes a catalyst that exposes vulnerabilities, insecurities, and unresolved trauma in everyone around them. Ultimately, the reason Stephen and Lucy's relationship feels so impactful is because it reflects a truth many viewers recognize but rarely see portrayed with this level of nuance. Toxic relationships don't just affect the people inside them. They reshape entire social ecosystems. They strain friendships, distort communication, and leave lasting emotional consequences that ripple outward in ways that are hard to predict and even harder to undo. That uncomfortable realism is what makes Tell Me Lies more than just another psychological thriller. It's a reminder of how deeply interconnected we all are and how one destructive relationship can quietly change everything around it.